Georgia DA Fani Willis has broken her silence on allegations that she acted improperly in hiring her alleged lover Nathan Wade as special prosecutor to litigate the state's election interference case against former President Donald Trump. Well, her response is interesting. Let's take a look at that.
You cannot expect black women to be perfect and save the world. The Lord is completing us. We are not perfect. We need your prayers. We need to be allowed to stumble. We need grace. With that kind of support, we will move mountains and do Jesus' will, stumbling all the way.
So Willis tried to claim there that the criticisms of Wade were based on racism, saying, quote, "I'm a little confused. I appointed 3 special counselors. It's my right to do that. Paid them all the same hourly rate. They only attacked one. The black man I chose has been a judge for more than 10 years, runs a private practice more than 20 years, represented businesses in civil litigation, served a prosecutor, a criminal defense lawyer, special assistant attorney general."
As a reminder, allegations surfaced last week from one of Trump's co-defendants in Georgia, Mike Roman, who accused Willis and Wade of engaging in an improper romantic relationship. Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee announced he's awaiting a response from the district attorney's office and expects to set a hearing on a motion to dismiss in February. Yeah, this seems like a spectacular own goal, as I described it when we covered this story before. I don't think there's any question that the person is qualified to do the work that they have been doing before. But the issue is that this is an individual who has never pursued criminal cases before. He has spent years, apparently, this is from the Washington Post, between a private legal practice and public service, serving as a municipal judge, as you mentioned, in Cobb County, but has mostly overseen things like traffic tickets, and running this private practice that deals with family law and contract disputes, which is a very different thing from the biggest case of Fani Willis's career. And so it does raise questions, I think, even if you're a Democrat, if you're liberal, if you're someone who is hoping that Donald Trump is found guilty of these crimes and unable to serve as president. Why would you choose somebody for this position who had so little experience, except for that you had a personal relationship with them? Whether or not that rises to the fraud that's been alleged, or the idea that this is a kickback scheme because he had the salary and then they allegedly went on trips together that he paid for, and therefore that's a kind of a kickback. I think that'll be determined down the line. But certainly it's very difficult to claim that there isn't a real concern here, even for just the credibility and integrity of this investigation.
Right, and the idea, there she's saying it's racism. Like, why are you going after him? Well, because it's alleged that you're involved in an amorous relationship. Again, that has not been borne out yet. This is a claim one of the defendants have made, but the circumstantial evidence is that she is named in the divorce proceedings that Nathan Wade is going through. She is named, and it's alleged that they went on trips together. So again, anything could turn out being the truth, and we should withhold a little bit of judgment, but there's something to that, in addition to his being, again, not unqualified as a general legal person, but having not had very little prosecution experience in general. So he's not being picked out at random. He's being picked out at random because it's alleged that they have a relationship together. She's not handling that well. That was not, say nothing. You better to say nothing than say that.
Yeah, and to try to co-opt all the black women, all the black people in that church into that argument. This is exactly what the really strong, and I think this is the important critique of identity politics that people should be listening to. And it's a strong critique that's been coming from the left for years. I started my journalism career making these kind of critiques of how elite black folks and people of other races who are in these elite positions co-opt legitimate concerns that are held because of de jure and de facto discrimination against various identity groups to protect their own status in the world in a way that ultimately serves to undermine legitimate claims of racism or differential treatment. Olufemi Taiwo is another person. He's an associate professor of philosophy at Georgetown who wrote this book called Elite Capture, How the Powerful Took Over Identity Politics and Everything Else, that I would strongly recommend to help people open their eyes to exactly how folks like Fani Willis, and I would argue Barack Obama and a whole host of other people in the Democratic Party have long weaponized legitimate concerns from historically marginalized groups to ultimately consolidate and preserve power for themselves, that in a way that is absolutely not in the interest of the overwhelming majority of the groups that they purport to represent.
Right. She's using identity politics as an excuse to get out of some very real concerns. No, it's exactly as you just described, and I don't think anyone is buying it at this point.
It didn't look like some of the people behind her, behind the pulpit there in that video were buying it, to be honest.
Maybe this is common practice. I think it's a little weird to be discussing aspects of the Trump prosecution at the pulpit in a church. That seems weird to me. That seems not proper. I mean, I guess she can respond to these charges, these rumors, however she wants. But that was weird to me on itself. Like, save this for the court.
Well, look, I think I personally, I'm not a religious person, so I find it to be somewhat objectionable. People were raising this concern last week when there was the controversy around Joe Biden's remarks at the AME church, where that shooting had taken place with Dylan Roof. There were some pro-Palestine protesters. And again, the kind of elite black media cohort rallied around Biden and said it was inappropriate for white protesters to confront him in this place of worship. Of course, there were 3 protesters. One of them was black, one of them was white, one of them it's not really clear. But again, the question is, well, if Joe Biden is willing to do a campaign, basically stump speech from the pulpit, isn't that him already inviting politics into the room?
Yeah. I guess I find it kind of ugly to be trying to rally a congregation to your side in what is ultimately an ethics issue that a judge is going to look at. It seems wrong to me. So
yeah, I can't weigh in from a religious perspective, but it certainly doesn't seem strategically beneficial here.
Absolutely not. That does it for us for today. Tomorrow on Rising, we'll be trudging through the snow here in D.C. I don't know if we're supposed to get new snow. I hope not.
I think this is an illusion of the fact that D.C. shuts down if there are 2 inches of snow on the ground.
Yeah, right. I know. I don't want anyone to sound like, woe is us. It is not that bad out there.
Yeah.
I was on the road last night for a little bit as it was coming down and it was slippery. D.C. drivers have no idea how to handle snow. I grew up on the mean streets of Michigan. The salt marked, all of our roads are always in distress because they have to coat everything in salt because they're icy. But I know how to handle the slippery tracks. Not the DC natives.
Show them how it's done, Robby. Teach them what's what. All right.
And don't worry, I will not be on my scooter taking that in to the studio tomorrow. I know how you worry for me.
I do that. Helmets to you all. All right. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while you're on the go, safely on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. Take care.